So this last weekend kicked off Project Blue PDX, which is the next life of the event series formerly known as the Commoner Crawl, as we are moving now into Project Blue, or soon to be Silver Age. So today I want to recap that event and give you the top 4 deck lists. You're watching Budget Format Fab on Dice Commando, your BFF for all things in budget flesh and blood. Coming to you midweek each week, these videos are possible thanks to the support of our channel members. If you want to get involved with the channel and join us on our community Discord, please consider joining as a member. You can be our BFF and show your support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving a comment. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood BFFs. Welcome back to the channel, and thanks for tuning in for a little midweek budget format fab chat. Now, as you can tell, today I am a little under the weather, so I will be doing my best to not cough my way through this. For the last week or so, it's been bad. There's been some pre-shot videos that have been going up, and that's why we haven't talked much about the new set, but I'm on the mend, so we'll get through this one, and then we'll get back to normal content. So thanks for sticking in through that, and again, bear with me as I try to cough through today's episode. Now, as I mentioned, Project Brew PDX, a Silver Age tournament series, is the rebranding of what we've known and loved for the last 3 years, the Commoner Crawl series. We are indeed moving forward with Silver Age. That really seems to be the future of things, and at least it's something new for us to try in the meantime. We still love Commoner, but the reality is, just with the excitement around Silver Age, it makes sense for us to go in and get more people out, and it did pay dividends. We had 15 people come out for this one, and a lot of new faces on top of that, right? Faces we'd never seen before. I'd say, about a third of the field was not necessarily new to Flesh and Blood, but new to the tournament series. So that's really, really, really good news for us, right? Plus, we brought out some old names, and again, if you look there, you can see the top 4. So we had Sean Cowan, none other than Commoner Crawl fame. Probably the last time we'll say that. And then Adam Hill, he has walked away from Flesh and Blood for the most part, but Dash Main could bring back the Pew Pew Pistols, and he showed up and he took second, showed us he still knows what the heck he's doing. Stephen Morgan also has largely walked away from the game, but came back with a spicy Kano deck. People are very, very, very excited about this. And then Anthony Gallaran he definitely very much still active, won our Blitz skirmish at Gangai, has been on the top of these lists last spring in the commoner format for Phi, but he brought out Scurv. So today what I want to do is, like I said, we'll do our best to get through this as quick as possible, but I do want to run down the decks. Now, you also do see there, by the way, I was number 5. I was also on Briar, and Sean and I's decks were not pretty different, but they were a little different, and significantly enough difference. And, Sean he went a little more aggressive than I did, and I think that was the correct answer. With pummels flying around, I do think going for the throat is the right thing to do. So you see Sean's deck across the screen for you right now. The loadout's really not too much of a surprise. He's playing Crown of Dichotomy as just an AB piece, and then he's on Gloves Boots for Nullrune. He's on Beckoner Gauntlets, Beckoner Helm, and Beckoner Boots, and then he's playing Old Knocker and Runehold Release that he can swap in as he needs. Old Knocker, I didn't find I needed a resource very much. I'd be curious to know how much Sean was popping it over the weekend. But again, it's just a free resource whenever you need it, because Briar does not care about tapping. Okay, going into the deck itself, we see Arcane Seed's Life. We also see Burn Up Shock, both of those out of Rosetta. Windmill Slams into Briar. He is on Autumn's Touch and Bramble Spark. Those two go together very well. Electrostatic Discharge on the instant, right? Remember, the instant does not give you, just like Lightning Press doesn't give you the thing, but Electrostatic Discharge is still very good. He's on Lightning Form, and then the all-star of this deck, for those of you who've played it, is Earthlore Surge. That card is so good because you drop it, and then you still have one floating at the end of all your stuff for your weapon swing, and he's on Reaping Blade, by the way. We are on Entwine Lightning, and then he's on Explosive Growth. He had commented quite a bit on how he kind of went back and forth on that and landed on it and was very happy. He was on Fry. He was also on Flourish. That's one that really proved itself back in the Briar Blitz days, and it belongs here. Lightning Press, of course, Lightning Surge ×2, Nimbleism. He's on Ravenous Rabble. He's on Rune Rager Swarm, and he mentioned that is why he's on Runehold Release, just to give that a thing if it needs it. He's on Sizzle, Scar for Scar, Snatch, of course, and then moving into the alternative options, he has Arcane Polarity, Sigil of Suffering, and then Smashing Good Time. All right, so congrats, Sean, on the big win, and also for bringing down the very first, maybe even one and only, depending on the situation, the one and only Champions pint glass for this one. Now let's move into Adam's deck. Again, OG Dash here. Okay, so he's on the Tectoplasma Pistol, because yes, you are. He's on Blade Beckoner Helm. He's on the Base Chest. He's on Crackerjacks, and then he's on Achilles Accelerator. And then just going from the left, we're on Big Bertha Blue. He's on Big Shot Red, kind of giving him a little more anti-fatigue. Crankshaft Blue, Fender Bender Red. He's on Jumpstart Red Blue. Single copy of Red Overblast Recharge. I love that card. Absolutely great call. 2 of the reds there. We do have Rev Up Red and Blue. Scramble, Pulse, and T-Bones right next to each other. That's like the pair made in heaven. Both of those are rares joining us within this format. Throttle Red Blue. Underloop Red. 0 to 60 Red and Blue, and Zipper Red and Blue, so no yellows for those. We're on 1 Hyperdriver, of course, 1 Convection Amplifier, 2 Boom Grenades, 2 Combustible Couriers, 2 Outpaces, and then 2 red payloads and 1 yellow payload trying to come in for the end, maybe pairing up with those Boom Grenades as they may be. So really kind of, we've seen, if you were to upgrade this deck from Commoner, this kind of makes sense on that. But again, you add in like the Scramble Pulses, you have Big Shot as well, but the Scramble Pulses and the T-Bones together, especially with the T-Bones sucking out a bunch of 1 equipment that have to block on a Scramble Pulse, is really, really dirty. You can just kind of cancel a lot of stuff, and it makes fatigue certainly a lot harder. So nicely done, Adam. Very, very nicely done, especially when you go look at, not playing Goliath Gauntlets and stuff like that, because, well, it's not legal. So finding those alternatives, very, very, very creative. Right, moving into third. So this is Stephen Morgan's Kano. Stephen summed it up very well for me at the beginning of the tournament. He said, I'm not going to win by 3. He's like, I'm either going to lose or I'm going to shoot for 7. So that's kind of his thing here, is really looking at amps, putting all that stuff together, or effective amps as it may be for stuff like something like Absorbent Aether, right? That doesn't technically have an amp because amp wasn't a thing back then, but it's functionally what it's doing. Okay. So looking at the loadout here, really no surprise, just kind of single focus, Talismanic Lens, Old Knocker, of course, because why would you not? No Spellfire Cloak for AB or anything, he's just going straight for it. Mage Master Boots, Hold Focus, and then Crucible of Etherweave for the additional pump. Looking at the cards in the deck, we have Exploding Aether, we have Sigil of Temporal Manifestations, Open the Floodgates Blue, Zap Red Blue, Twinning Red Blue, Reverberate Blue, Overflow the Aether Vial Blue, Stir Red, Etchings Red, Absorbent Aether, remember that's the D-React, Red Yellow, Tempest Aurora Blue, a full boat of Emeritus Scoldings, pretty darn good. We have Cindering Foresight ×1 and Sap ×1, red and blue respective. Snapback, of course, Voltic Bolt ×2, that's his big hitter. And then we have Singe Blue. So again, the whole idea here for him was to just come in, swing in, come over the top. Everyone's got 2, maybe 3 AB in this format. It doesn't take a lot of hits in a short form format to do that. And again, he can cap and do it on your turn. So not too shabby. Now, before we move into the last list, I do kind of want to talk about my perceptions from this format. And I think this is largely highlighted by how well Anthony did with, maybe a hero that I think I'm actually really impressed with Scurv, to be clear on this one. But I think it was one that might have been flying under a lot of people's radar. And it worked really, really well because, well, Pummel. Okay. Pummel is really, really, really strong. Without the swath of red D-Reacts, Pummel's very strong. And then when you combine it with the fact that, like, again, in the shell, right, the pirate shell, we've kind of talked about it before, the blue shell with like your boats, and then Pummel on top of that to do what you want. Like, again, you throw out a Swiftwater Sloop, it's doing nothing. But now you do another Pummel in the blue, and all of a sudden it's hitting for +4, making you lose a card, and it has go again, right? Pretty darn good right into a Talishar. That'll do, Peg. That'll do. So really, really, really cool. So we have Saltwater Swell, red, blue. Swiftwater Sloop, red, blue. He's on Money or Your Life, only the red, blue. No yellow on that one. Battalion Bark, red, blue. Lunging Press for the extra hit, blue. Money Where Your Mouth Is for the pump and the gold wager. Test of Strength for the gold clash. We have Down But Not Out. We have the HMS Marlin, which is, I believe, the only other... Oh, that's not true. He has Marlin and Barracuda, which are both yellows. He has Scuttle the deck. Swab the deck? Scuttle the deck? It's Scrub the deck, excuse me. We have Pummel Red-Blue. Cane Polarity, of course, for the sideboard. Murderous Rabble, very, very, very good rare in this deck. Seafloor Salvage. Springboard Somersault. Note that is the only one we saw in the top 4. Which I think makes sense with the decks we saw, but there was quite a bit of Springboard Somersault on the day, which I think also makes sense. Wage Gold, and then Not So Fast. Then, of course, we have Sticky Fingers. We have the Light Fingers. Talishar is the weapon, Buccaneer's Bounty, and then we have Blade Helm, Blade Boots, and then Null Boots, Gloves, and Hood to round it out. So very, very, very fun top 4. Again, I'll put it up. You can see there was a pretty good diversity. There was, of course, onesie, twosies, a pretty good diversity over the day. I was blown away that we didn't see a Dromai on the day. There are several players there that I thought were going to bring Dromai and did not. So we'll have to see how... I think people were definitely pulling punches on the first day. We didn't see Oldhim. We know Cranky Grandpa is kind of a pain in the butt in this format. So we will see how that evolves over time. But I think people were just trying to have fun. But now, I think as we move into the colder, rainier months, I think people are going to start really going for it, and we're going to get a really good idea of what this is. And again, hopefully by our next one, we'll actually have the final format, and we will see where we go from there. So anyway, I can feel myself about to cough, so we're going to end this. I want to thank you all for joining, and of course, go Commando.